Disclaimer! Since we're going to be talking about piracy in this video, I figure I should make a legal disclaimer here so that I don't get sued. This video is not an endorsement of piracy. I am not responsible for how you choose to use the information in this video. Be smart, think twice, and act once. Hopefully that shouldn't get me in trouble for discussing the story that I want to discuss here. So, we're still up? Nice! Let's talk about Wallpaper Engine. Hi, my name is D Starlight. I'm 21 years old, and I'm the proud owner of the Pink Floyd album with tits on it. I can understand that you're probably very confused at what the hell you just saw, and I would like to address the controversy by opening up the first ever Curiosities press conference, because I'm a YouTuber and I'm bound to get cancelled soon, and I could always use some practice. I will now be taking questions.
People are pirating in Wallpaper Engine?
Yeah, people are pirating on Wallpaper Engine. Isn't it neat?
Are you gonna, tell people about it? Or...
Yes, I'm going to tell people about it. I mean, I haven't seen any coverage of this rabbit hole at all, and I kind of have a duty to cover something like this. This video is probably going to be very, very different from my past projects, as there really isn't like a timeline of events for me to make into a video. I'm completely winging it here. This video is essentially a documentation of all of the information that I found while researching this rabbit hole, from how I stumbled upon it, to how people actually pirate on Wallpaper Engine, to finding out some of the people behind it, and even about the content that ends up getting pirated, among many, many other goodies. I don't really know how a specific order is going to pan out for this video, so I'm going to try to order things from least to most insane to have a natural progression from this point going forward. Also, this video is probably gonna have things made up in it. Truthfully, unless I'm able to actually interview the people involved and also find someone that speaks fluent English and Chinese, I'm never going to be able to get the full picture of what's actually going on. So there's a lot of parts in the video that I kind of have to piece together myself. Thankfully, I really like writing, so my hope is that I've taken bits and pieces from what I could find in my research and turned it into something really catching and interesting for you to watch today. And remember, I'm not responsible for what you do with this information. Do not sue me, please. Next question.
How'd you even find this anyway?
I wanted to look at pretty people on Wallpaper Engine. Don't give me that look, you're no better. I decided to start dicking around with the filters on Wallpaper Engine search and decided to just select only applications, since who knows, maybe there's some silly stuff in it. And what I stumbled upon was a search result page of 30 wallpapers of the exact same image of Pantene's stocking on it, with the only difference being an incremented number in the title. I was really weirded out and decided to download it to check it out. Then I remembered that this is literally downloading a 1 gigabyte unknown exe file to my computer without a VPN, so I copied the link and re-downloaded it on Wallpaper Engine in a Windows 10 virtual machine and ran that. What was I expecting to gain from this? Malware? The episode to play as the background? Boobies? Turns out, nothing. Literally nothing happened. And that was when I got really ticked off to something being off about this wallpaper. So I did what many people I've talked to actually didn't know you could do. You can right-click a wallpaper in Wallpaper Engine and click Open in Explorer, and you can view all of the resource files for the wallpaper. So I decided to start digging through the files of this wallpaper, and that is officially how the rabbit hole started.
But how do they do it?
If you hadn't interrupted my prior response, I would have actually talked about it. Rude. In the wallpaper that I was just talking about, two things in the Explorer directory stuck out to me. A text file completely in Chinese, and the actual executable that Wallpaper Engine was trying to run. The text file is going to be very, very important later, and it's going to be a huge source of information for this video, so I'm going to save that for a different point. Let's just focus on the executable that Wallpaper Engine was trying to run, since that leads into how this is all done. When you run a application-based wallpaper on Wallpaper Engine, it it will run an executable. It'll prompt you of this when you download, when it's done downloading, it'll prompt you of it. You'll have to wait like a couple seconds and then click run, and then it'll launch the executable and stuff. So when I launched that wallpaper and nothing happened, I immediately got suspicious. And when I looked in the Explorer directory, it was literally just a zip file with .exe attached to the end of it. Like, literally, I commented out the .exe part, and I opened it up in 7-zip, and yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's the big secret to people uploading pirated content onto Wallpaper Engine. It is insanely simple. All you do is you take a piece of content, zip it up, split the zip into 1 GB subarchives, append .exe to the end of each subarchive, and then turn each of those quote-unquote EXEs into an application-based wallpaper, and then bulk upload them onto the workshop with what I assume is a script. I do have like a weird log file that was included, so I'm assuming that they use a script to do this, but at its core, that's basically all they're doing. Technically, as long as the total size is under 1 gig, you can upload anything onto Wallpaper Engine, and it's basically infinite cloud storage. Somebody in my comments better try to run Linux off of this. And in the months since I first discovered this and now, this is still working. You'd think they would probably try to account for this, but no, it's so dumb that it's genius that no one would ever really think of it, and it's a super creative way to use Wallpaper Engine as your own private file sharing service. Next question.
Who are the people behind it?
Hackers and bots. There's a lot of telltale signs that I know that an account is a bot. If you want to know, to be aware on Steam if an account is a bot or not, to check their games. If you check an account's games and they have a lot of games that are just all free to play, it's most likely a bot account. This account was probably just a regular Steam account that got wiped and converted into a bot as a result of someone falling for a Steam phishing scheme. That's what happens when if you don't get your account back from a phishing scheme, by the way. What's more important here for our story is who is running these accounts, and that's where that text file comes in. And also, like a lot of speculation. I can at least confidently say that this whole wall pirate engine scene is baked in Chinese origin. From the location of the uploading accounts on Steam, to the included README files being in all simplified Chinese, and even some archives containing the Chinese equivalent of a Cash App code for donation requests, it's pretty safe to say that this operation is focused near or potentially even inside of China. And another important piece of the puzzle is this group right here, which I'm just going to call them Spider for the duration of the video. Most of the accounts that I see that aren't bots are prominently members of this group, which contains over 15,000 members. There's also a second group that I've seen that is considerably smaller in scale, but honestly, I think it's not really worth covering since there isn't really a lot of information on there. I think the group's description claims this group to be CCP loyalists, which originally was going to lead into a much sillier and clickbaitier title for this video. Yeah, I wasn't able to find that much information about it. I just know that there is at least more than one group. There might be a second group uploading this type of shit, but for our story, it's important that it's just one group, at least one main group that's running this entire operation. But with the locations that I've been mentioning on Steam profiles, it brings up an interesting question. The possibility of all of this taking place within China. If you're aware of the Great Firewall of China, you're probably now just as interested as I am to see what content is pirated while on one of the most censored internet connections in the world. So what's next? I know one of you is dying to ask about the contents getting covered here, so who's gonna do it? Come on. Any moment now.
What content are they pirating?
I'm so glad that you asked. From the intro hook example, you can probably assume that the majority of content being shared this way is 18+ content, specifically 18+ games. Some familiar faces for degenerates like me show up here, such as Mage Kanade's Something Dungeon Quest, Flipwitch, Take Me to the Dungeon, Neko Pirates, even some unfortunate hits of in-development titles like Max the Elf and 8th Heaven are cracked here for anyone that can find them. I guess that goes to show that your game is a success when it's getting 3 update-old versions spread over obscure distribution methods. However, this is where the weird stuff really begins, because it's not only 18+ content. If you revisit our example and you Checkle? If you revisit our example and you instead select all 3 age ratings instead of just R and sort by top rated, within the first 2 pages, you'll find just Stardew Valley. I've also seen Needy Streamer Overload also floating around here as well, along with a handful of couple completely safe for work indie games. It's not just 18 plus games, easily accessible with an application that you watching the video probably already own. Games of all kinds, VPN software cracked and uncracked, anime. What more could you possibly want to spread over Wallpaper Engine? Certainly nothing harmful.
There's no way people are spreading malware on Wallpaper Engine, right?
So people are spreading malware over Wallpaper Engine? Now calm down. This does not mean that every single wallpaper on WE is potentially a virus. Truthfully, if you never download any application type wallpapers, you should have absolutely nothing to worry about, at least in regards to what I've done with the research here. However, this is probably where a lot of the speculation is going to lie, with information coming from many very informative and well-written posts from Spider. Everything that Spider Group has done has been super fascinating and ultra helpful to me putting this video together and doing research. In this post specifically, they list every evolution of the primary source of malware that's floating around on Wallpaper Engine, how they combat it, what it does, how you can identify it, and all of it is so helpful in allowing me to piece together this narrative for you. From what I can see, Wallpaper Engine malware exists to turn Steam accounts into bot accounts. Bot accounts upload malware-infected wallpapers with tags on them that make people likely to click on them. People click on those wallpapers, and it runs an exe. The exe opens a phishing site that gets your Steam account token, and now your account is compromised. Next, all the items get traded to shell accounts in quantities just under $1 to bypass Steam authentication, and then sell those items through the Steam market. And before you ask, yes, this is fucking money laundering on Wallpaper Engine. After the money laundering is done, the account is shelled out, scraped, and becomes a bot account, which then continues the spread of malware. These bot accounts that upload malware files are seemingly led by this person referred to by the community as AODog/AODog Shotgun. With the amount of ill will and vitriol that the members of Spider have towards this guy, I think it's safe to assume this is where a lot of the spread started. The virus started out small, then grew massively by preying on fetishes that were popular in China to get people more likely to click on wallpapers supposedly containing pirated porn games, but actually containing malware. And this malware is not old at all. It's been around since early 2023. It's still super new and could probably still be lurking around on Wallpaper Engine. Once the virus started to be noticed, it started disguising itself in the upload details, but was eventually found once the group started noticing patterns behind each upload iteration. There's 6 different iterations of the malware, and for each one, you get a brief description of it, you get things that all infected pieces of malware have in common under this branch, and how to counteract it. It's crazy to see in the modern day malware being this thoroughly dissected by a group, making notes of how to spot infected files, keeping people safe, providing countermeasures. This is simply stuff you don't see anymore in any piracy or malware scene, and I think that's fascinating. After doing a bit of research and talking with some people, I stumbled upon an actual reason for this. Let's take a brief tangent and look at how piracy is culturally viewed in the United States, Japan, and China. Stick with me, I'm going somewhere with this. In the United States, with just a handful of groups, piracy is very much seen as an every man for himself approach. Everyone takes, everyone steals, and very few actually give back. In Japan, piracy is seen as such a cultural taboo, it's the equivalent of stealing someone's bike that they left out in public. You just don't fucking do that, it's not socially acceptable. To where devs don't even put DRM on their games because it's just a very culturally understood thing. However, China's piracy scene is a weird mixture of both. Culturally, piracy in China is viewed as a form of community mutual aid. If enough people request something, people will work together to crack it for the community. Not even groups, just average everyday people will try to give it a shot. Everyone is just trying to provide content for everyone. Everybody sees each other's torrents, everybody tries to help each other out. It's genuinely super sick to have a tight-knit community of pirates all united and keeping each other safe from malware, essentially made to pry off of people just like them. It's such an interesting idea to talk about, and I've been itching to talk about this for so long, and I'm so glad that I've stumbled down this rabbit hole and I've learned a lot of new cultural things about Japan and China and potentially an underground railroad that's sneaking information past censorship and the Great Firewall of China. It's such a cool story, and I'm glad you're here with me to see it to its end, which is about now. I genuinely don't know what's gonna happen as a result of this video.
Wait, why aren't you a VTuber anymore?
I don't know if this video is gonna blow up at all. I don't know if a lot of people are going to see it, but the main thing is I don't know what's gonna happen as a result of this video. I've basically blown the lid off of a giant underground piracy operation in the most obvious yet unobvious places imaginable, and I genuinely don't know what's gonna come out of it. Is Wallpaper Engine gonna get in trouble? Is Steam gonna get in trouble? I really don't know. It's a double-edged sword with me making this video, because on one hand, this is absolutely something that I would love to cover for my channel. It has everything that I could ever want in a story, and plus nobody else I don't think has really reported on it yet. But on the other hand, there's the possibility that by me making this public, people who really shouldn't know about this are gonna hear about it and take action. And that scares me. A big factor in me deciding whether or not I wanted to do this video is if I wanted to do my part in keeping all of this secret. It felt like if I were to make all of this public, it's gonna draw a lot of unnecessary attention, and I'm going to potentially doom this little scene that I think is really interesting. I really don't know what's gonna happen as a result of me posting this video, but at the end of the day, we all have to pick our battles. It's better to be afraid of things that you can actually influence and control rather than be constantly afraid of what the weather's going to be. So instead of fearing how the world's gonna react to this video made by some nobody 200 subscriber YouTuber, I'm instead going to worry about the things that I can control, which in this case will be constantly judging myself on how much quality has been put into this video and delaying it for several months. Thank you for watching, friend. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, a sub to the channel, a like, or a comment, any of those things helps out a ton. If you really enjoy the content that I make, consider joining the Ducky D Unemployment Fund. You get a bunch of extra benefits, and there's more on the way. With each passing video, it seems I'm adding some sort of new perk to the booster benefits. You guys are amazing and making my dream job possible. If you enjoyed the video, joining the Ducky D Unemployment Fund, subscribing to the video, liking it, or even just sharing it with a friend that you think might like it. All of those things help so much. I'm only at like 200 subscribers as I record this. Wait, why did I say that out loud? I'm at 300 subscribers by the time that I write this. I'm only done with 300 subscribers. I've got a lot of growing to do, and I would love it if you could make it 301 something. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.